Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a terrific game full of depth and strategy, and nearly unlimited ways to play. It's also full of cheap bullshit, activated constantly with no remorse. Now, Yu-Gi-Oh! Legacy of the Duelist is a game for PS4 that brings the TCG to consoles in the biggest and best way possible, and I've been playing the absolute hell out of it. The game has forbidden certain cards from being used in online multiplayer to help curb the onslaught of agony and frustration when someone uses Monster Reborn to bring back their 5,000 attack card for the third time in a row, but there are plenty of nearly equally obnoxious allowed cards out there that beg to be shat on in the nastiest of ways. These are my top 10 most hated Yu-Gi-Oh cards, not including the ones that are forbidden. Number 10. Horn of the Unicorn. Horn of the Unicorn, Axe of Despair, and Malevolent Nuzzler are three cards I'm going to group into this listing together as one category of unenlightened garbage. These are the most basic ass equipped cards in the game that can increase the attack of any monster by way too much for how non-specific they are. Horn of the Unicorn and Malevolent Nuzzler raise your attack by 700, Axe of Despair by 1,000, any monster, there are zero qualifications. Why use something like Machine Conversion Factory that only increases your attack by 300 and only machine-type monsters for that, when you could equip that Jinzo with Horn of the Unicorn, a card that even when destroyed is guaranteed to return to the top of your deck like a cancer that just won't stay in remission. You can pay 500 life points to return Malevolent Nuzzler to the top of your deck in the same fashion, and Axe of Despair requires the tribute of a monster for its top of the deck effect. These cards are the herpes of Yu-Gi-Oh! They don't go away, and they don't stay in the graveyard long enough for you to ever remove them from play. Once it's made an appearance, you're stuck with it until your life points are zero. Protect yourself from STDs. Tear those cards in half. Number 9. Scapegoat. How many times have I been destroying Yugi in reverse duels, about to close out the match with one final attack, when he pulls this shit out of his ass? Scapegoat spawns 4 monster tokens on the user's side of the field in defense mode. Oh, have you spent the last 5 turns trying to break through my defenses? Well, right when you think you've succeeded, how about 4 more cards you have to destroy before you can attack me directly? It's a quick play spell card, so it can be activated during your opponent's turn like a trap card, which it might as well just be, since you can't summon monsters the turn you activate the effect. Oh, but you can normal set. Are those tokens wrecked by piercing damage? You bet. Do the story decks in which you typically encounter this card have monsters that inflict piercing damage? You bet not. It's cards like these in Yugi's arsenal that make me realize that Yugi is actually a cheap-ass bitch. He has terrible monster cards that only work because of his absolutely infuriating spell and trap game, and he's the most respected duelist when he has 3 scapegoats in his deck. You've fallen from my good graces, Yugimoto. Number 8. Blast Sphere. When your opponent sets a monster, it can be daunting. Do they have nothing? Are they setting as a defensive move? Or are they scheming something diabolical? Does it have a bullshit flip effect? Can it even be destroyed by battle? Well, this is probably one of the worst monsters you can attack in face-down defense position, because when Blast Sphere is destroyed this way, it equips itself to the attacking monster and then during its opponent's next standby phase, blows it up and inflicts damage equal to that attacking monster's attack. It's not considered a flip effect either. So let's say your summoned skull kills your enemy's blast sphere. Are you ready to take 2,500 damage? Well, you best get ready! You can prevent this from happening if you have a card that can destroy spell cards to activate during your main phase 2, or if you tribute whatever card Blast Sphere is equipped to, but no matter what you do, it's super annoying, and I hate Bandit Keith for introducing John to this card. Most of the cards on this list have been made intolerable by John's constant usage of them when we duel. He's a bastard like that. Number 7. Castel the Skyblaster Musketeer. I'm not a big fan of XYZ monsters as a whole. I much prefer synchro monsters because at least you need tuners for them so it doesn't feel that extremely cheap. But if you go into the duelist challenges, you are going to find this card in every single deck you face, because it's one of the most universally useful XYZ effect cards there are, which is to say it's annoying. But that speaks to its effectiveness, doesn't it? It wouldn't be annoying if it wasn't effective, but fuck this card if that wasn't clear. Castel needs 2 level 4 monsters of any type or attribute to XYZ summon, and when it does, you can do one of 2 things. You can either detach one XYZ material from it to target one face-up monster on the field and change it to face-down defense mode, effectively destroying any equipped cards that might have been attached to it, plus typically making it more vulnerable to attack if it has low defense. Or you can detach 2 materials from Castel to target one face-up card on the field, monster or otherwise, and shuffle it into the deck. Do you know what that does? That ruins tribute monsters, XYZ monsters, synchro monsters, continuous spell and trap cards, Castel the Skyblaster Musketeer is the deck wrecker of the elite. If your opponent summons it, say goodbye to at least one vital part of your strategy. Are you thinking maybe the computer isn't smart enough to use it effectively? Because you're wrong. If you have any card on the field the computer deems a threat, it will do whatever it takes to put Castel on the field and ruin your dreams. Enjoy it. Number 6, Goyo Guardian. Remember when I said I prefer synchro monsters? Well, not this one. This may very well be the best synchro card in the entire game. Now, obviously, it's not 12 stars with 5,000 attack, but the ease with which you can summon it and its overpowered stats and effects make it without a doubt the best level 6 monster there is. Goyo Guardian can be summoned with any type of tuner with any type of monster, as long as the levels equal 6. It has 2,800 attack, which is way too much for a level 6, and on top of that it has the most OP effect for a card that easy to bring to the field. When it destroys a monster by battle and sends it to the graveyard, you can special summon it to your side of the field in defense position. Yeah, you can steal all your opponent's monsters for yourself to use as tributes, or just flip into attack mode your next turn. Oh, but Yugioh has cracked down on the usage of this card by limiting it to 2 per deck, because it was the third one that was causing all the trouble. Number 5, Maneater Bug. Flip! Destroy one monster on the field. There are plenty of cards with that exact effect, but none more famously than Maneater Bug. Whether Weevil's being a dick with it, or anybody, this card can and will turn the tables on you right after you've made a bunch of complex moves to bring your ultimate monster onto the field. It's just symbolic of the nihilistic attitude Yu-Gi-Oh seems to employ. It doesn't matter how great you play or what strategies you use, you can easily be thwarted by a single card, because nothing matters and we're all gonna die someday. Number 4, Scrap Iron Scarecrow. You know those trap cards that negate attacks? Man, I hate those. You know that trap card called Scrap Iron Scarecrow that negates an attack and then flips itself back down as a set card instead of being sent to the graveyard? And negate 1 attack every turn? Put a couple on the field? Negate up to 3 attacks every turn? Where the fuck is my wiretap? I have 3 of them in every deck for a reason. Crap Iron Scarecrow is what happens when you add infinity to the bullshit equation. You're gonna see this card everywhere during the 5D storyline, so prep yourself with Noblemen of Exterminations and the aforementioned wiretaps. Although if you plan on using the story decks, you can just kiss your TV screen goodbye after you smash a hole in it. Number 3, Call of the Haunted. They forbade the use of Monster Reborn, but they totally let this one slide. Call of the Haunted is a trap card that brings back a slain monster from your graveyard in attack position. Oh sure, if you destroy the Call of the Haunted card, that resurrected monster gets destroyed again, but by the time you can make that happen, he's probably already used it as a tribute or extra deck summon. Not to mention the prime activation period for this card is when you declare an attack with a monster with less attack than the one your opponent plans to bring back, stops your attack in its tracks, and leaves you in a bad position while it's now your opponent's turn. How often will you see Call of the Haunted? 3 in every deck. Every deck. It is probably the single most used card in Yu-Gi-Oh! Because who doesn't want to cheaply resurrect their monsters? And when the monster dies, Call of the Haunted stays face up on the field forever, just waiting to be brought back to its user's hand by some tandem card effect. Oh, and if you want to kill it while it's face down with an effect that destroys a set, spell, or trap card, Call of the Haunted can be activated in response to that card, rendering it face up and therefore no longer destroyable by that card. Oh my god, oh my god. Number 2, Mirror Force. It was a really tough call for me to decide whether this should be number 2 or 1. Mirror Force is the bane of my existence. It's the reason I'm afraid to attack half the time. When an opponent's monster declares an attack, destroy all face-up attack position monsters your opponent controls. Oh my god, does it wreck me. Mirror Force is the sole reason I started packing my decks with counter trap cards. I need you to understand my perspective here. Trap cards are evil. Trap cards are the fucking devil. Any card that can negate or destroy trap cards is a saint. Jinzo is my hero. I can't make decks that only have 40 cards anymore because I need at least 9 trap ruiners in addition to whatever theme I've got going on. How many story deck duels have I lost because of Mirror Force? Too many. I mean dozens. Yuki carries this card in spades and then acts like it's the heart of the cards that led him to victory. No, it was your fucking Mirror Force, Yugi. Why couldn't Kaiba have torn that card up? I don't see how Seto can act like he's the ultimate duelist when you could just Mirror Force all his Blue Eyes cards and then piss in his face. Joey's the only duelist in that generation who has any sense. Bring out that Jinzo Joey, make Yugi cry. Mirror Force might not be my number 1 most hated card, but it is absolutely the one card I would ban from existence if I could. Number 1, the Seal of Orichalcos. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Frankly, I don't give a shit. John puts this field card in every single deck he makes, and it's why we only play Yu-Gi-Oh! With pre-constructed battle packs now. Do you hear that, John? You're a cheap fucking asshole. I've told you that many times, but now I want to tell you while the public listens. You bitch. If you use this card, once per turn during your opponent's main phase, you can eat a dick. Seal of Orichalcos makes all monsters you control gain 500 attack. It also has like 4 other effects. Namely, once per turn, this card can't be destroyed by card effects, so if you want to kill it, you need 2 effects in the same turn to make it happen. Bullshit. Another bullshit effect is that if you control 2 or more attack position monsters, your opponent can't select the weakest one for attacks. That's straight up unfair garbage. When this card is activated, destroy all special summon monsters you control. Oh, is that supposed to be a negative to balance it out? Just don't have special summon monsters on the field when you activate it. You can't special summon monsters from your extra deck, which admittedly is helpful to your opponent, unless of course you read the fucking card before you built your deck around it, and don't have monsters in the extra deck anyway. The only thing that's helpful in undermining the Seal of Orichalcos is that only one can be activated per duel, so if you get rid of one, you don't have to worry about it coming back. I might hate Castel, the Skyblaster Musketeer, but it's great for ruining that card. Nothing but pure hatred from the bottom of my lack of a soul. I will burn that card to ashes with the fires of my passionate rage. Thank you and good night. Oh, and like, share, and subscribe and stuff. Really helps me out, you know. I mean, it does, but like saying it is weird, but yeah. Okay, bye.